The show opens up with two college students, Yang Yuli and Lu Ji, accidentally bumping into each other on their way to class. Yuli, who can't see properly, gets angry and accuses Lu Ji of not paying attention and purposely bumping into girls. In the heat of the moment, Lu Ji shouts back, but Yuli defends herself by unknowingly kicking him between the legs. In pain, Lu Ji grabs his bag and decides to leave. Realizing her mistake, Yuli apologizes for hurting him, but he doesn't listen and rushes off to college. The scene then changes to a photo studio where students are getting professional photos taken. After Lu Ji finishes his session, it's Yuli's turn. Unfortunately, she trips and falls while getting into position. Taking advantage of her vulnerable state, the creepy photographer comes closer and starts taking inappropriate photos without her knowledge. Seeing this, Lu Ji becomes furious and slaps the photographer. He then helps Yuli by giving her his sweater to cover up. Our heroine recognizes him by his scent and realizes they've met before. During this, other girls in the studio mock Lu Ji, calling him an ugly boy and a school bully because of the scar on his face. After school, Yuli follows Lu Ji to return the sweater he lent her. However, as he turns around, she is accidentally knocked to the ground by a boy riding a bicycle. She then falls on top of Lu Ji, but quickly gets off. Yuli returns the sweater and asks him to accompany her home since her cane is broken. Reluctantly, Lu Ji agrees and they hold onto either end of the sweater as they walk quickly. During their conversation, Yuli reveals that she's not completely blind, but is suffering from a visual condition called amblyopia. Later on, Yuli unknowingly enters the men's washroom, but luckily, Lu Ji spots her before anyone can spot them. The scene then fast forwards to a military training camp where both Lu Ji and Yuli are present. Lu Ji advises her to stay on the sidelines and take care of herself, but she insists on participating in the training. Unfortunately, a gust of wind blows her cap away and a group of bullies taunt her, telling her to retrieve it herself. Lu Ji witnesses this and throws a football, hitting the leader of the bullies, Mark. This angers Mark and a fight ensues between them. After the fight, the boys are taken to the principal's office and scolded for their behavior. Lu Ji tries to defend himself, but Mark accuses him of starting the fight. Yuli also arrives to give her account of what happened, but the principal dismisses her explanation. To make matters worse, one of the girls who witnessed the fight falsely claims that Lu Ji initiated the fight without reason. The principal believes her and punishes Lu Ji by making him stand in the hallway for the rest of the day. In a flashback, we see Mark approaching the girl who lied and blackmailing her into supporting his false version of events. Later on, while Lu Ji is still standing in the hallway, Yuli approaches him and reveals that her friend has captured video evidence of the fight. They decide to go back to the principal's office and confront him once again. After reviewing the footage, the principal apologizes to Lu Ji and asks him to rest in the medical room, asking Yuli to accompany him. In the medical room, the health assistant tends to Lu Ji's wounds and asks Yuli to apply some ointment, incorrectly assuming she is his girlfriend. Both of them try to correct the assistant, but they have already left the room. However, once they're alone, Lu Ji helps Yuli apply the ointment, bringing them closer together. Right then, she notices a mark on his face and asks about it, to which he explains that it's a birthmark. In the next scene, Lu Ji is seen working at a coffee shop entertaining guests while wearing a bear mascot costume. Yuli coincidentally arrives at the shop and asks him about his job. Lu Ji reveals that he works part-time there. As they chat, the cafe owner interrupts and scolds Lu Ji for not focusing on his work. Hearing this, Yuli prepares to leave, but Lu Ji stops her, expressing his desire to walk her home. Once Lu Ji finishes his shift, he approaches Yuli and musters up the courage to ask her out on a date. The cafe owner interrupts again, presenting Yuli with a cup of coffee, but Lu Ji takes it away, claiming that she doesn't like it. Curious, she asks how he knew, and Lu Ji admits that he read about it accidentally in a book. Following this, they decide to go for a walk in a park to spend more time together. The following day, the principal asks Yuli to check with the teacher about her physical education waiver application and requests she send Mark to his office if she sees him. While walking outside, Yuli overhears Mark's voice and informs him about the teacher wanting to see him. However, instead of showing gratitude, Mark and his friends tease her. Lu Ji notices this and he pretends to be injured, making Yuli hold his hand and escort him to the medical room. In the evening, it starts to rain and Lu Ji coincidentally meets Yuli. Seeing that she has an umbrella, he hides his own and tells her that he doesn't have one to get home. Yuli then suggests that they share her umbrella and walk together. The next day, her friend Lily convinces her to attend a singles party where they can meet some handsome boys. At first, Yuli refuses, but when she learns that there'll be delicious food stalls, she immediately changes her mind. During class, when one of the class representatives asks who's interested in attending the party, Lu Ji raises his hand while looking at Yuli. Seeing this, Mark decides to attend the party as well, aiming to ruin their moment. At the party, Lily takes Yuli to a corner and asks her to wait while she goes off. Our heroine finds herself captivated by the sight of delicious cookies at a nearby food stall and begins looking at them carefully. Unexpectedly, Lu Ji appears at the scene and starts teasing her. While they engage in conversation, Mark shows up and insults Luigi, mocking him for his scarred face. Hearing this, Yuli becomes angry and defends Luigi, refusing to let Mark bully him just because of a scar. She praises his intelligence and declares that Mark can never match his level. She lectures everyone at the party about discriminating against others based on appearance or any physical condition. In response, the crowd applauds her and appreciates her words. Afterward, Luigi takes Yuli to a quiet place and expresses his gratitude for her support. In a surprising turn of events, he confesses his love for her, leaving Yuli stunned. The following day is the day of their exam, but Yuli forgets her glasses, making it difficult for her to read the questions. Observing her struggle, Luigi quietly leaves the classroom after finishing his paper quickly. He then rushes outside and returns with a magnifying glass in hand. Luigi hands it to their teacher, asking him to give it to Yuli as she needs help reading small letters. Impressed by his thoughtfulness, the teacher wonders if Yuli is his girlfriend, to which Yuji replies that he is doing his best to make it so. The teacher then gives the magnifying glass to Yuli, allowing her to complete the exam comfortably. Later that day, Mark interrupts the duo's peaceful time and resumes insulting Luigi. He hands him a business card of a famous doctor, suggesting that he should visit him to have his scar removed. At first, Luigi refuses to comply, but when Yuli suggests he consider it, he agrees. In the evening at the cafe, Yuli plays with the owner's pet dog and contemplates getting a pet of her own. Suddenly, Luigi approaches her and claims that he is better than a dog and promises to take her on adventures around the world. After Luigi's shift ends, the two spend quality time together and explore the city. The story then fast forwards to the end of exams, where Yuli says that she will be going home for eye surgery during the vacation. Luigi expresses his loneliness without her, and in response, she suggests that whenever he misses her, he should count backward from 3, 2, 1, and she will be there in front of him. After a month of vacation, Luigi is seen wandering alone, eagerly awaiting Yuli's return. He begins the countdown, and to his surprise when he opens his eyes, she is standing right in front of him. Now that Yuli can see, she looks into his eyes and asks if he missed her during the vacation. Luigi replies with a resounding yes, and unexpectedly, Yuli confesses her love for him. She then suggests that he visit the doctor to remove his scar as well. In the next scene, Yuli and her friend Lily are talking in the classroom, anxiously awaiting for Luigi to return from his surgery. Seeing our heroine worry, Lily reassures her that everything will be fine. Just then, a handsome and clean-faced Luigi enters the classroom and walks towards Yuli. He presents her with a sandwich he bought for her and asks her out. Later that night, the two are enjoying each other's company in a park, laughing and playfully teasing one another. In a surprising moment, Yuli walks up to Luigi and plants a kiss on his lips, catching him off guard. The following day, Luigi and Mark engage in a basketball game to compete for the senior position on the team. In the first half, Mark scores more points, and Yuli playfully mocks Luigi, suggesting that basketball may not be his forte. Taking her words to heart, Luigi plays with a newfound determination in the second half and emerges victorious. After the game, Yuli congratulates Luigi on his win and casually mentions her plan to attend an interdorm party with her friends. Luigi doesn't seem to react much and encourages her to make new friends. The scene then shifts to the party where Yuli is accompanied by Lily. The latter expresses her doubts about Luigi's level of care for Yuli. She believes that he has become somewhat cold. Just then, a group of boys approach the girls and join them for dinner. As the boys make their way back to their hostel rooms after dinner, they talk ill about Yuli, calling her a blind girl. Unbeknownst to them, Luigi overhears their hurtful words and confronts them. He grabs them by their collars and sternly warns them to stay away from his girlfriend. Surprisingly, Yuli is watching all of this from a distance. Once Luigi finishes scolding the boys, she approaches him, expressing her gratitude for his actions. They then share a heartfelt kiss and decide to walk back to school together. During their walk, Luigi asked Yuli if she noticed his scar and found him unattractive when she first saw him. In response, she reassures him that even before she could see him, she had already found a special place in her heart. The scar holds no significance for her, as he is always cherished and unique to her. The show ends with Yuli requesting Luigi's assistance in finding her way home, similar to the first episode when she needed his guidance due to her visual impairment.